Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T. If you like all things true crime, if you like it delivered in a peaceful, tranquil manner, if you like it clear and concise without drama, then I highly recommend you subscribe. And if you like what you hear, please smash the like button. It's a free way you can help. And now, without further ado, let's dig in. The Jay Slater case brought out the best and the worst in the true crime community. We watched as caring people who never met Jay, never met his family, generously donated to the GoFundMe. And that GoFundMe grew quickly to more than £72,000. But we also saw cruel scammers doing things like trying to sell fake promises of a live stream of Jay's funeral. The good and the bad seems to be a constant tug of war. Now, we're hearing that some of the people who donated to the GoFundMe are asking the family for their money back. These GoFundMe campaigns for families of missing people seem to be fraught with emotion. When people see the families suffering, they hand over their money gladly, but it seems like the emotional tide can turn in an instant if donators become convinced, rightly or wrongly, that the money isn't being spent on worthy pursuits or purchases. In the case of Sebastian Rogers, people donated upwards of $30,000 to Sebastian's father, Seth, but when rumors spread that Seth maybe bought himself a new motorcycle and or gave $12,000 to some chickadee he fancied, the tide definitely turned. Suddenly people were accusing Seth of running a scam to make money, or maybe even hiding Sebastian somewhere as part of some elaborate scheme. Well, now the same thing is happening to Jay Slater's family. Apparently some people who donated to the GoFundMe now want refunds because they don't think Jay's mother and father should have given him a grand send-off, replete with a horse-drawn carriage and a cool blue monogrammed casket. Other people are saying, okay, well, that funeral likely cost £20,000, so you no longer need the balance of, say, £50,000, so we want our money back. I have mixed emotions on this. I donated to Seth Rogers' GoFundMe, and I'll admit I felt disappointed when I saw the motorcycle rumors and the $12,000 rumors. I was hoping that all of the cash would go to endeavors aimed at finding Sebastian or finding out what happened to him. And now at 6 months out, we don't know squat about where Sebastian is. All I can say is I know that kids don't disappear, and usually the last person who was with them knows what went down. And I'm fairly disgusted that the Proudfoots are putting more energy into trying to sue or cause grief to Bullhorn Betty, who I don't necessarily agree with her methods, but shouldn't the Proudfoots be focusing all their energies on looking for Sebastian, finding answers, maybe hiring a private investigator? But I digress. For some reason, with Jay's family, I feel like they've been through enough misery. They're grieving the loss of their beloved son. They loved him through his mistakes, like that gang attack and him possibly stealing a pricey watch. Clearly, they offered him unconditional love and forgiveness, as well as a belief in redemption. Seeing Debbie Duncan cry at her son's funeral broke my heart. So my feelings are, if you gave to their GoFund, when you gave the money, you didn't say, spend my cash only on search teams from the Netherlands, or else I want it back. It seems sort of mean and petty to demand a refund at this juncture. That's just my opinion. Like Debbie Duncan, Warren Slater, and Jay's brother don't have enough to grapple with right now. Just because they found Jay and they brought him home and they buried him in a beautiful ceremony doesn't mean that their misery and grief are over. Imagine how much color has drained from their lives with Jay no longer being in it. When my mother passed away, I can tell you the color drained out of my world. And although it's back to some degree, it will never be as vibrant. But now I'm going to sort of contradict myself, because I also saw that mourners at Jay's funeral were allegedly asked to sign a document giving a production company permission to film them. It looks like this company is producing a documentary about Jay for television, and people now want to know if Jay's family is profiting off their son's death. To many, this production thing doesn't look good. It looks like a potential money grab. It's not quite as bad as Rex Heuermann's family, but it's a little bit like that. I'm not sure what to think about this part. You'd think the family would be wanting privacy and quiet at this time to grieve in peace. I saw another YouTube channel that I love. It's called Evil Exists. And on the channel, they said that Jay's friends, Lucy May Law and Brandon, were watching Jay's funeral on a screen outside the chapel, begging the question, were Lucy and Brandon not invited to the service? And if not, why? Some people believe that Jay lost a bag of illicit substances while at the Papagayo Beach Club, and that Lucy started his GoFundMe to pay off the people at the top of this drug dealing operation. I don't necessarily believe that. Remember, Jay posted a Snapchat bragging about stealing the expensive watch. Don't you think he'd have laid low at that moment if he had just lost a bag of illicit goods like that? If he was fearful of retribution for such a loss? If he was trying to hide from the owners of the bag of illicit substances? And if he really did lose some pricey goods like that, wouldn't he have maybe tried to bargain with the stolen watch rather than announce to the world that he'd taken it and he was on his way to sell it? There is one thing, though, that does bother me about Lucy May Law. I keep wondering why she didn't tell Jay to stop hiking, to sit down immediately on a rock wherever he was in that wild and woolly park so as not to get any thirstier, maybe try to find some shade, and then wait there and listen in like 30 to 50 minutes for her voice, because she was going to come right there, right away, with water, with food, and together they could climb back up and then drive back to Los Cristianos. Why wait for the Guardia Civil? Grab Brandon, grab Brad Hargreaves, then grab a taxi and hightail it to Moscow right then, right there, and rescue Jay, instead of saying, go back to the Airbnb because he's tired, he's injured, and he's very, very thirsty. Say instead, stay where you are, we're coming to get you. Lucy has criticized the Guardia Civil for not acting swiftly enough or well enough. I want to know why she and her friends couldn't put on their hiking boots and head out there pronto with water and food to save Jay. If he's saying he cut himself and he's thirsty, you can't expect him to want to hike back up the mountain. It makes more sense to me to say, stay put, preserve your energy, get in the shade, I'm coming. And in like an hour, start shouting out as loud as you can, and I'll be calling out your name too. Listen for it. I know myself, and if it was someone I loved and cared about, I'm not going to sit around waiting for the cops. I'm heading there straight away with as much food and water as I can carry, a charged cell phone with backup chargers, a call into my family and to the authorities, telling them where I'm going and where I'm headed into that area, just in case something happens. You get the picture. That area in Moscow is a favorite spot for hikers. We've seen the dirt path. Start there and work your way down. And when that path comes to an end, where it's treacherous, that's where you're going to find Jay. Use that last ping. Use the information you have. Maybe Lucy couldn't do this because Jay's phone cut out, and she didn't have enough time to strategize, come up with a plan, and convey it to him. She could have also brought some flares, by the way, just in case they got lost and they needed to signal a location to the authorities. You know, I know that would have taken some planning. It would have taken some shopping around. but it could have been done and she could have been there fairly quickly. And if she told Jay to sit down, there would have been no danger of him trying to continue and then falling off the cliff. I think Lucy and Jay's other friends could have done more. It would have required some effort, some sweating, some quick thinking and planning, but it maybe would have saved Jay's life. He was still alive at that point after all. He still had his voice. He could have screamed out. I started thinking about that when I heard that Lucy and Brandon were outside watching the service. I thought, maybe Debbie Duncan and Warren Slater are upset with Lucy. But then again, she's the one who reported Jay missing. She's the one who started the GoFundMe. But then again, if Lucy allegedly got Jay entangled in some drug dealing operation, then I can see why Debbie Duncan and Warren Slater would not be happy with Lucy. We don't know if Lucy is involved in illegal activity like that. This is pure speculation. But if you look at her Instagram, she's in Tenerife, she's in Malta, she's in Ibiza, the Greek islands, Barcelona. Either she's a trust fund baby or she's making some good cash. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you next time on Bed Crime Stories. Hey, do me a favor, smash the like button, share the content, and subscribe to my channel.